The Silver Lantern Casino hummed with its usual 4 a.m. energy, that dead zone hour when the weekend warriors had stumbled home. At table 7, Mason Torres dealt blackjack with the mechanical precision of a man who'd done this exact motion 50,000 times before. 36 years old, average height, brown hair going gray at the temples, unremarkable in every possible way. The 7 of diamonds. What the businessman didn't know, what the pit boss monitoring from the elevated platform didn't know, what the dozen security cameras recording every angle didn't know, was that Mason Torres had just executed one move in the most sophisticated casino heist in Las Vegas history, and in 3 hours and 17 minutes, he would vanish forever, taking $22 million with him. 6 months earlier, Mason Torres was the model employee. But Mason Torres had a secret. It lived in the encrypted browsers on his home computer, in cryptocurrency wallets hidden behind layers of digital anonymity, in private poker rooms where he'd been hemorrhaging money for 3 years.
About the money, Mason. About where it all went. How much do you owe?
$347,000 to 3 different offshore gambling syndicates who weren't known for their patience with delinquent accounts.
How, Mason? You make $48,000 a year dealing cards.
The math was impossible through legitimate means, but Mason Torres was nothing if not a careful planner, and he'd been planning something very, very illegitimate for months. 3 weeks after the divorce was finalized, Mason spotted something interesting. Vincent Chen looked like any other mid-level professional burning through his discretionary income, but Mason noticed something else. Vincent was counting cards.
Excuse me, I think you dropped this.
I don't think this is mine.
Check your pocket.
2 days later, they met at a 24-hour diner in Henderson.
You're very observant and very foolish.
What if I told you there was a way to remove both those limitations? What if the dealer knew exactly what cards were coming next?
For the first time, Vincent's mask slipped, revealing genuine interest. Their partnership needed one more piece, Alex Petrov. At 28, Alex was an electronic engineering dropout, banned from 15 casinos across 3 states.
This is impossible. The power requirements alone would require a battery the size of a quarter.
What about RFID technology, like the chips they use in the cards themselves?
You want to replace the cards themselves? That's actually brilliant.
Alex would create custom decks, visually identical to the casino's house brand. Each card would contain a paper-thin RFID tag, programmed with the card's suit and value. The scanner would read every card as it was shuffled, creating a real-time map of the deck. This information would be transmitted through micro-vibrations to Mason's phone. 1 buzz for an ace, 2 for a king, and so on. Mason would relay this information to Vincent through subtle hand signals. A slight pause before dealing, a specific way of holding his fingers. These signals would tell Vincent when to bet big, when to hit, and when to stand. The beauty of the system was its restraint. No massive jackpots, no obvious patterns. To any pit boss or surveillance analyst, it would look like a skilled player on a lucky streak. Just a statistical advantage that would appear to be natural variance. It was a digital ghost in the machine, and Mason was its master. For 2 months, Mason lived a double life. He spent 8 hours a day practicing card manipulation with the focus of a concert pianist. 1 card at a time, he slowly poisoned the well. Alex's scanner was installed during routine maintenance disguised as a diagnostic component. The first real test came on a quiet Wednesday night. Mason loaded the modified deck into the shuffler. As the machine hummed, Mason felt the vibrations. Alex's system was working. For 4 hours they played their parts to perfection. Vincent won 63% of his hands. He walked away with $47,000. It was a significant sum, but not enough to trigger alarms in a high-limit room. They recruited a small team, each thinking they were part of a simple card-counting operation. Over 4 months, the team netted nearly $1 million. The money was laundered through cryptocurrency exchanges and offshore accounts, but Mason's debts remained heavy, and the syndicates were growing impatient.
We need to scale up. This isn't going to get you out of the hole.
Mason, haunted by threats and mounting pressure, agreed to one final decisive score.
One big night, we hit multiple casinos simultaneously for maximum impact.
Bigger means more risk, more devices, more people, more exposure.
20 million, maybe more.
Mason, desperate for a solution to his crushing debts, saw this as his only way out. They would bring in Dmitry Volkov, a Russian whale, to create a distraction. Volkov would bet erratically and aggressively, drawing all attention to his table. Their real target was Thomas Chen, a professional gambler from Hong Kong. Thomas knew nothing of the RFID system. He was told to follow the dealer's cues and bet aggressively. The night of the heist, the Silver Lantern was electric. Volkov arrived like royalty, flanked by bodyguards. All eyes were on the Russian whale as he took his place at the high-limit table. $50,000 bets per hand. Mason stood behind the table, heart racing, as he loaded the modified deck. The modified deck entered the shuffler. He felt the familiar buzz against his leg, the stream of perfect information. Vincent and Thomas took their positions. The plan was in motion. According to Alex's system, the sequence was perfectly arranged. Volkov received a king and queen, a powerful 20. Thomas was dealt a weak 10. Mason checked his hole card. It was a jack of hearts, not the predicted ace. A jolt of ice-cold fear shot through him. Something was wrong. He glanced at the backs of the cards. They weren't the B brand cards he had replaced, they were bicycle cards. The casino had changed suppliers. The RFID tags were useless. Mason was flying blind, but his partners were still betting as if he had divine knowledge. At 1:17 a.m., lightning struck. Thomas, trusting Mason's signals, pushed his entire stack forward. $4.8 million. The bet silenced the entire floor. Mason dealt the hand, his hands feeling numb. Thomas received an ace. And a king. Blackjack. A $7.2 million payout on a single hand. It was a win so massive it triggered every alarm in the building.
Sir, we'll need to verify this payout. Routine procedure.
While security focused on Thomas, Mason made his move. He gathered his belongings and walked out a side exit. He never looked back. When the sun rose over the Nevada desert, Mason Torres would be gone, and so would $22 million. The house always wins, they say, but tonight the dealer changed the rules. In the security office, Frank Morrison was staring at footage that didn't make sense. The win was statistically impossible, but the footage showed nothing suspicious. Frank ordered a full analysis of Mason's tables. The results were chilling. A small group of players had been winning modest amounts for months. The pattern was too perfect to be luck. Then a technician reported strange RFID interference.
Check if we changed card suppliers recently.
They had, a simple cost-saving measure that had detonated their entire security system.
He wasn't counting cards, he was reading them.
By the time security realized Mason was gone, it was too late. His car was found abandoned near McCarran Airport. His apartment was stripped bare, scrubbed clean of any evidence. All they found was a single envelope with a burner phone and a note. The house lost. When the FBI traced the financial transactions, they hit a dead end. $22 million, laundered through cryptocurrency exchanges and offshore accounts. It was gone. Mason Torres, Vincent Chen, Alex Petrov had ceased to exist. The Silver Lantern heist sent shockwaves through the casino industry. Casinos spent millions upgrading security, implementing new protocols, new card verification systems, RF sweeping for rogue signals. Mason Torres became a ghost story, a legend whispered among dealers. He had exploited a blind spot no one knew existed, proving the biggest threat wasn't a player at the table but the man dealing the cards. The question that haunts the industry isn't how he did it, but how many more like him are out there, waiting for their chance to play. In Las Vegas, the house always wins, but Mason Torres proved that sometimes the dealer can change the game. Table 7 at the Silver Lantern remains closed to this day, a monument to the most sophisticated casino heist in history. Mason Torres vanished into the desert night with $22 million. His legacy lives on in every security protocol, every card verification system. But somewhere out there, another dealer might be watching, learning, planning. Because in the end, the house always wins. Unless you're the one dealing the cards.